Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to the webinar with strIQ and Postaway. I'm your host, Matt Sanderson, the founder and CEO of strIQ, the platform for you to find profitable properties and maximize revenue. I've got Jamie Kraus here with Postaway, an
Hi,
exciting, amazing new platform out there that connects content creators and hosts and even travelers to really make these robust experiences for your properties so that you can maximize revenue and do all sorts of amazing stuff. So, Jamie, welcome. I'm
Yes.
so excited to have you on today.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome. Well, guys, many of y'all may be newer STR investors. Maybe y'all, maybe you have a couple of properties already, but Jamie and I think you've got 5 properties, right, Jamie?
I do. Yep, that's
So
right.
we both have 5 properties. We've learned a lot through the process, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
And what we've discovered is that there's some ABCs of really doing this right, because there's a lot of moving pieces associated with this. And so Jamie and I got together and we thought, we want to put together a webinar for you guys that basically tells you what hosts need to know before owning an STR, because there's a few different things that you need to know to be successful. And Jamie has put together an awesome presentation that will literally take you step by step through the entire process, so that you can have success in the end. And so, Jamie, I'll let you take it away. And then what we'll do at the end is we'll do some Q&A for anyone that's got questions. Feel free to go and throw it in the chat. And then we'll wrap it up in about an hour or so. So excited to have you. And Jamie, we'll let you kick it off.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Matt. And I want to give one caveat to this. I put this together because I made so many mistakes early on in the process. And so if I were to do this over again, this is the method that I would follow. I'm not claiming that I followed this method, but if I were to be a new STR host or looking into real estate investment, this is the method that I would follow. And as you know, we have so many amazing partners and so many amazing resources now that I don't even know that we had 10 years ago. So especially like strIQ. So I'm coming at this from this is what I would do, not necessarily this is what I have done. So I'll introduce myself and then I'll get started with the process. And if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm happy to help answer that. I'd love for this to be very conversational and not me being a professor, because I'm learning right along with you guys.
I love it.
So as Matt said, my name is Jamie Kraus. I'm the founder and CEO of a new platform called Postaway. It's a hospitality platform that connects creators and hosts for collaboration, connection, and community. And I'm also a real estate investor. My husband and I have 5 short-term rental properties in Breckenridge, Colorado, and also the 30A area of Florida. You guys just got back from there, right, Matt?
Yes, we did. We had not checked on our property in about a year. And so my wife and I were like, we need to probably get out there. Oh, and by the way, it's on the beach. So let's go enjoy it, go check on it.
That's right. It's really fun to check on it.
I love working on our properties,
right? Our work is fabulous. So anyway, so that's where we have our properties. I've hosted for nearly a decade. I've done over 50 content creator collaborations with my properties. That is, fun fact, the only type of marketing I have ever done for my properties. And because of that, and because of the success and failure that I had through these 50 collaborations, I think it's even more now, I decided we needed a platform, which is Postaway, because there was no streamlined way to do this properly. There was no method, no step-by-step way for a host to understand what are the important questions to ask a content creator. What is a usage right, deliverable, all these terms that people don't understand. But if you get it right and you dial it in with a creator that fits your, demographic and your guest avatar, then it's like gold. It's magic. And I love working with people. I love doing things like this, like with you, Matt. And so I'm all about creating a community around the hospitality space. And so this has become that, which is amazing to watch. So I founded that for that reason. I am a wife to Trevor, been married almost 30 years. I'm a boy mom. I have 3 boys. Well, they're young men now. And I am based in Dallas, Texas. And so we travel. We're kind of central in the country, but we like to go to the mountains, and then we also like to go to the beach. And so it works out well for us. My hobbies are anything outside with my family. I love hiking, biking, skiing, pickleball, and spending time with my crew. So let's jump right in. I am going to go through the ABCs of, like what I said, what I would do if I were starting fresh and that we're having my first STR, or if I already have some like I do and I was looking to do to add to my portfolio. I used to do this in school. I would make acronyms to help me remember things. And so this is how I came up with the ABC method.
I actually love it. And when you put this together, I was like, this is really good. Like I'm learning something too, from this. So I love it.
I figured if I didn't know how to put my slide up here, at least I could remember it now in my head.
Yeah.
So thank God for Leslie that knows how to put this thing up here. So anyway, so let's start with the A. Let's pretend like you are brand new to this and you want to be a host and you have decided that real estate investment is kind of the way to go and you're going to do short-term rentals. I'm not just saying this because you're here. I'm saying if I had an app like strIQ, whenever I started, I would have made so many less mistakes. So A is to acquire your property. And I'm going to go right here for this. Don't buy on a gut feel, which my husband, if he were here right now, he would die laughing because I am all about the gut feel. And he's kind of my barometer of, hey, hold on. We can't just do it because it's pretty. So you need to buy on data. And I would love for you to talk a little bit here about strIQ and about what you guys do to help us as investors make wise choices and not just fall in love with the property and purchase on site.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of what's the saying of a picture's worth 1,000 words, or whatever. So I think instead of me just telling you, I might just show you real quick and everyone that's viewing. But the long story short on strIQ was I was going through a painful process of going to like Zillow, AirDNA spreadsheets, trying to find the needle in the haystack. It was spending forever doing it. And I was like, what if you just had all the data you needed at your fingertips and could just like instantly find the best performing properties like anywhere and just filter for anything above 10% cash on cash return that makes over 100 grand or whatever. And like instantly see. So this is the platform here. And you can see some of these properties in the Smokies, how much they make, whether cash on cash returns, all that stuff, and then go through the full underwriting. And then the final piece of that is, the next question you're going to ask is, well, okay, it said it made 300,000 or 200,000. Like, how do I know that? Well, we've got all the comps in there to where now you can see all your comps here. And it shows how much each of these comps are making based on revenue, ADR, occupancy, all that stuff. So anyway, it's just all the data at your fingertips so that you can not only find them very, very fast here, but you also have the data to back it up so that you can have confidence and conviction to actually move forward. But the final piece of that we encourage is, once you find it, you need experts to go then execute. So that's where the Postaway comes into place. Yes. Agents, lenders, all these people. So anyway, there's strIQ from a quick visual perspective, and I'll pass it back over to Jamie.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. So running the numbers is super important. I think this tool is just phenomenal. I mean, I enjoy, like, I'm a Zillow nut and I love to play around, but I even love strIQ so much more because of this reason. Like, you can really start to understand. And if you're not familiar with numbers or cash on cash, any of those terms that you're using, once you start digging into this app, then I feel like it all starts becoming second nature after a while. And then you start developing this, ability to see these patterns and things that would make smart investments. And so if I would have had you, man, I mean, we're doing fine, but I would have crushed it. So if we
well, thankfully for your next property, you do have us now. Hey, let's go get another one.
And I will use you, and I tell everybody about you because I think it's actually amazing. Real quick, what I would say on this slide before we move to B is that one of the most important things when you are acquiring a property is not only to run the data, but also to make sure about short-term rental regulations. And I feel like this is something that really wasn't even a thing, 10 years ago, but now it's a big thing and it's changing. I've seen it every single year that we've been hosting change, and the restrictions get tighter in every city. And so it's really important that even if you love a property and the numbers make sense and all the things, you have to double check. And I don't know if strIQ has something like that on there, but you have to double check those short-term rental regulations, because in one of the small towns that we have a property, They have had no restrictions whatsoever this entire time. And we were like, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, the small town decided to shut down and freeze all applications, all licenses, except for, I mean, we got grandfathered in. But let's say you were in the process of purchasing that property on the guise of like, okay, we're going to make this a short-term rental. They shut it down. So you're purchasing this property thinking that you're going to make all this money. And then, the short-term rental regulations were so tight that they said you can't do it. So, and I know they will lift it at some point, but that's a really important point for me to make. Like, you really have to know your market. And I think there's a lot of loose places, if you will, around that don't have these restrictions yet. And so I would kind of chase after those along with the numbers that you find on strIQ.
Well, here's my recommendation, just based on, a lot of experience in this field, is like technology. We're going to do our best to get regulations and restrictions and all that stuff factored in, especially with AI. So we'll have a little bit of that factored in from like a risk metric. However, there's so many markets, so many HOAs, deed restrictions, city regulations. Like, it's almost, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's very, very difficult to do that everywhere. So
absolutely,
my recommendation that I tell customers is technology alone is great, but probably can't get you there. Help, like coaches and brokers and all that stuff, are great, but you still need tech. But when you have tech plus help, like a broker and agent together, the partnership of those two things is powerful. And so you need both of those when you're in the acquisition process. And so you use the tech to identify and evaluate the markets and the potential properties, but then work very, very closely with those local agents with the tech. And that's where I think great outcomes actually evolve, is the combination of both of those things.
Yeah, all I heard you say was collaboration, because I feel like that is the term. I mean, people have to understand you cannot do this alone. And there are so many great partners. So just what you just said, like, you've got to find your team. You have to amass these great resources. And how do you find those people? You join your community, you join our community, you learn who these people are that can be trusted, and you can feel confident going forward and making decisions on real estate. Because you can't know everything, and you can't know everything all the time about it all. So
100%.
So great point on that for sure. Okay, so let's move to B. So B is branding your property. And I heard someone say this once, like, if you are going to start a product, a business, anything, you're going to, get your logo, and you're going to have your colors, and you're going to, I see your strIQ logo behind you. Like, you're going to have, your name, you're going to have all these things in your head and this vision. But some people that are hosts, they don't see themselves as a brand. And so they go ahead and they buy this property and they throw it up, and it doesn't even have a name, or maybe it has a name, but it doesn't have a logo, it doesn't have a website. So I really think in this day and age, when you are purchasing a property, and you have found that great property through strIQ, and you have worked with your great lender and your realtor and broker, and then the next phase that you move into is, okay, let's brand this thing. And what I would say about branding, and I have some of our branding partners listed here, which are amazing. So screenshot this if you need to. But I made this mistake. So I want other people not to make this mistake. When we bought our first property, I just named my Instagram and got a little logo and kind of started building that Instagram, which is at Chestnut Hill Cabin, which is the one that I'm primarily on now. What I didn't realize was that I was going to add more properties. And so once I started adding more properties, I had to kind of keep adding these new Instagrams, right? Instead of at the beginning having a brand that was like an umbrella that housed all of my properties. And so if I were to do this over again today, I would, even if you just think you're going to have a 1-bedroom condo somewhere, you make your umbrella brand, and then you have your name of your property. And that's really, really important.
Oh, that's interesting. So you would even suggest doing the umbrella brand for all of the properties versus like, would you do individual property branding too?
You would do that, but you would be all under one, so that, like, I'm saying more for social media, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, that you have, like, if I would have done like the Chestnut Hill Collective and then had everything under that, then it would make sense. And so I just didn't do it early enough, and now I'm too far gone. And so that's what I would kind of like tell people to do now, is start an umbrella brand, and then you have everything listed underneath that. I think that would be the the most efficient way to do that, and a way that you wouldn't wear yourself out, because now I have to brand and talk about each one of our properties separately. And so that can get exhausting as well. And then I would say from there, then you take that to a direct booking site. You have one of these lovely people on here that we partner with to create your direct booking site. The main thing that you want to do is be independent from the OTAs, the VRBO, the Airbnb, things like that. Because as you probably well know, and we're on all of the OTAs, but we also have our own direct booking site. Airbnb, they can move you around like a puppet, and they can tell you, now we're going to make you pay 15% more, for your bookings versus the guest, and they'll switch everything around on a dime. They can cut you out. Vrbo took my listings off for like 3 weeks, and there was no reason for that. They just did. And so if I would have just had them, that would have been a nightmare for bookings. And so it's really important that you dial your process of branding in at the beginning. You get your name, you get your website, you think of yourself as a true brand. And yes, you can use Airbnb, and yes, you can use Vrbo, but do not rely specifically just on them. I think that's super important.
Jeff said, I'm not an Airbnb puppet. So
Good.
he agrees
Way
too.
to go,
He's like,
Jeff.
hey, we will not be Airbnb puppets. We will support ourselves in other ways.
That's
But
right.
Airbnb
That's
is the big gorilla out there. So
well, and I think too, just again, I'm coming from like an Instagram perspective because that's where I do all of my marketing. But if there's savvy travelers now that will go and find you, and then they go to your link in bio, and then they go to your direct booking site, they can do that from Airbnb. You get really punished if you talk about connecting with anyone off of Airbnb or off of Vrbo. So you can't say anything. And so you're just hoping that your guest is savvy enough to come find you elsewhere so they can book through you and save 15 to 20%.
yeah, I have so many questions I want to ask you. We'll probably wait till the end on this, but I will say, like,
don't forget.
I think, was it Isaac with Live Oak Lake or whatever?
Yeah.
He created the TikTok for his property. I think all in, it was like a couple $1 million that he was able to do it, and then sold it for like 7 million because of the exposure he had marketing, all these eyeballs that were, looking at his TikTok or whatever. So, that's one thing I have not tapped into that I'm very curious and so glad to talk to you about. So I'll save more of my questions for the end.
Okay, great. And we'll get you there because we have so many great marketing partners that could help just take your properties and do social media for them, super easy things like that. If you're not into, you're obviously building a company. So, you don't have as much time, but there are people that are really good partners that we have that can help kind of at least maintain a presence for you online so that people can find you and you can kind of get in the groove.
Okay. There's, by the way, there's some questions that are popping up. So Julia,
I don't see anything.
Really? What we'll do is just keep the questions coming.
Okay.
And during the Q&A, then we'll just start going through all these different questions. So keep throwing questions in there. And then as soon as we're through the APCs, we'll get to the Q&A.
Perfect. That sounds great. all these letters. Okay. So we have acquire your property. We have brand your property. And next we're going to cultivate community. And this is my favorite one because you do not have to do this alone, just like we were just talking about. And I won't reiterate that point too many times, but working with others, cultivating your community, getting on Facebook groups, getting on group chats. I have a Summit County in Colorado. We're in Summit County. We have a Summit County group chat for our host, and we've kind of expanded and included like a couple more counties in Colorado. And so it's just one of those places you can go to and ask for a cleaner or ask for what would you do in this situation if something happened at your vacation rental, or it's just as easy as like, can you comment and like this reel? And they post the reel, and we support one another. And it's really, really important to cultivate that. If that is not a natural bend for you, I can definitely help you plug in somewhere. Again, I know you do that well with your community, your school community on strIQ, and then we try to do that on Postaway. I always say I'll be your biggest and best cheerleader if you are a Postaway member, because we comb through and we repost everybody's stuff, and we comment and we like and we share it, and we're just there to help other people thrive and succeed in this hospitality space. So anyway, so I say do that. You know, I know you guys know Janelle and Hannon from Seven Summers Host Academy. They're awesome. I'm in their mentorship program right now, and it's been amazing. Stay Booked Social is someone that I would love to connect you with, Matt, because they do a great job of, you know, taking over your property on Instagram and
Cool.
posting for you, which is
Yes,
great.
I would love that.
Yeah. And then we have some other people that are just like Elevated Escapes. They do the same thing. House hosts, they could even take over your Instagram. They go, you know, promote your property. They go take photos. They go do the whole thing. So we have some partners here. If you guys are interested in cultivating that, send me a message if you need to know how to plug in somewhere. I'm happy to I don't want anyone floating out there alone, because I think hosting and content creation can be a very, very lonely place. So a lot of it's remote, and you just don't have that community. And I really believe strongly in community.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll touch on here is the reason community is so important is because, you know, a lot of people, you know, listening today are probably like, I have a tax problem and I want to buy a property to get $50,000 in taxes or whatever. So I'm going to go buy one of these things and hope for the best. Right. Well, the reason the government gives you that big of a tax write-off is because it's an active property. Like, it takes active management of that property. It's not like you go buy it and throw it on and just passive income, right? You can try to make it as passive as possible, but you're really running a business is what it is. So that's why community is extremely important, because when you run a business, there's all sorts of little things that make up that business: the cleaner, the handyman, the content, the social media, all this stuff. So don't be scared. You can automate a lot of that stuff, but it takes a lot of these people coming together to make it successful for you. So this is probably the most important piece of this entire thing, is having the right people help support you along the journey.
Right. Well, and it was so fun to, you know, meet you back in March, and just all of a sudden everything kind of became so clear to me that, oh my gosh, we're all working towards the same goal. At Postaway, our mission is to make every stay count. And I think all of these partners that I'm putting up here and all these ABCs, they all are trying to lead to the same thing. You know, we have the same mission, the same goal. And so just to be with other people in this space is wonderful, because in my normal regular life, and probably yours too, you throw out some of these terms and your friends are like, what are you talking about? You know, like,
I know.
They don't understand this world. And so if this is what excites you and this is what you're passionate about, it's really fun to have others that are similar in that too. So
100%.
Okay, so we've got acquire, we've got brand, we've got cultivate community. Next, we have design. Do not sleep on your design. If you even scroll Airbnb for 2 seconds, you will be able to identify a property that has a good design. Everyone, mostly women, are the ones that choose where the family is staying. And if you have good design, that speaks to women a lot. I'm not saying men don't like good design. I'm just saying that's typically how it goes. So good design is so important, and it's a specialty kind of design for a short-term rental than you would do anywhere else in like residential design. So for me, I am color averse. I love neutrals. My house is all neutral. You're not gonna find one color in my home. But like for short-term rentals, that's a different story. You've got to do pops of color. You got to do things that stand out on pictures and on videos. And so we have our design partners, Summerled, Denori, Brianna Michelle. These are great designers that specifically work on short-term rentals. And so I would highly recommend, if you kind of take a look, if you can hover above and look at your listing through, you know, these eyes that are not biased at all, then you'll see if you need some design help. And, you know, it could just be wallpapering a wall or adding a neon sign somewhere or making an Instagrammable moment. And that's what really translates for people to like stop the scroll. So that's a really important thing. I won't spend too much time on that. There's not.
Well, hey, Jamie, one thing I might pause on for that, I want to show y'all numbers wise why design is important.
Ooh,
okay, I think it's like, okay, because I remember when I first bought my property, let me share all this real quick. Can y'all see my screen here? There we go. So when I first bought my property, well, let me go back to this here. Here's the different ones I've got. I bought this one in Fredericksburg and didn't really do it. It was turnkey. And I'm just now starting to slowly do it with all new designs, actually. So they're going to do some really cool stuff there. but that was back when interest rates were like super low. But everything else I have had to do professional design. But the number one thing for me was like, oh, I got to spend $50,000 or $100,000 to like do all these things and whatever. And it wasn't until, started doing the data stuff that I realized, oh, that's why you spend the money. So let me show you all what that actually looks like. So when you get into these comps, let's start comps dashboard. Basically what you can see is every property, and I've taught you all this a lot, has a range of revenue, right? So what this means in kind of short summary is any property that you just buy and do just furniture in it, you're going to make probably this average median percentile. But if you do what Jamie said and you put in professional design and you get these great experiences and these amenities in there, you can hit this top 25%. That is like a $50,000 increase per year.
Right.
So even though it costs you 50 grand or 100 grand, that's like a 50% return on your money instantly, right? Because that you're getting that annually. So this is, and then the top 1%, like you can see the spread on that. So again, you are operating a business and it's critically important to design it and provide those experiences around that. And here's the number to actually back it up. So don't do what I did in the beginning and just throw furniture in it. Do what I'm doing now with my 5th property, and I'm spending good capital so that I can get to the top 25 or 10%. So that's critical.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love seeing those numbers, and it really does kind of drive it home. I think it's a hard pill to swallow to spend money on design. For some reason, that is just like such a hard, you're like, does it really make a difference? Does it not? So for you to show that and make it real tangible for us is so helpful.
Yeah.
And I would recommend any of these, like I said, our partners here that we love. I know you guys work with Summerlid too, and we just love them. Yeah. Okay, so we've got acquire, brand, cultivate, community, design, and now we're going to create an experience. And this is probably I don't know, I say every one of these is so important, but an experience is what's going to differentiate your property from every other property. So you're taking it from a listing to an experience. And that means you're going to show people in your hot tub with a charcuterie board, a glass of wine. You're going to have your fire pit going. You're going to have this great barrel sauna, right? And then you don't have to necessarily have all those exterior, backyard things, but you can also do like an old timey record player. You can, some people do like these fun, there are phones on the wall, like an old school phone, but it has Wi-Fi on it and you can connect it to your actual cell phone. So anything that makes it like you think through a kid's eyes of like what would be so cool, a slide in your house, something like that. Those are the things that are going to stand out and make this a full experience where people are like, I really want to come stay there and experience it myself. I know you guys have worked with the Backyard Social. We love Steven and Ella, and they do a great job of kind of
he's awesome.
A piece of dirt into just this magical wonderland. And so again, it's like a hard pill to swallow to spend that money, but it is so worth it. And those are the things, those are going to be your hero images at the end of the day, because who doesn't want to go sit in a hot tub after a long day of skiing on a beautiful mountain? So you really want to spend some time here creating the experience. And not only like, are you going to be, I don't even know what our time is. I think we're okay, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
good.
if you're going to be the one, like you've done all this, you've spent the money, creating that experience. And now you're just going to want to find a collaborative partner who is a photographer specializing in hospitality. This is so important. Let me back up here, because this one is my slide. This is Postaway. This is what we do. So what you don't want is you've created all this, you've done the branding, you've done the, you've got your community, you've done the design, you've put in this amazing hot tub and, this phenomenal outdoor experience with the stargazing net. Now you want to find that partner who is going to come in and is going to drive it home and is going to show on your listings exactly how people are going to feel when they are at your property. If you have an amazing property, probably already receive DMs or emails all the time about creators wanting to come stay in your property and showcase your property. And they will say, I'm a great visual storyteller. That's like the words that they use. Let me stop you right there. Don't be flattered enough to accept these. You need to do your vetting for who you're going to work with. This is very important, because I don't know if anybody knows this, but there are hospitality collaborators out there that are like, do this specifically. So you want to move away from just your typical influencer or someone that's got a lot of followers. You want to find someone that understands this space and understands the assignment on how to tell the story of the experience and the feeling and capture that feeling of staying in your property. And so that's what we do at Postaway. We have I think almost 700 vetted creators that are on there ready to work with you. We have a collaboration board where you can post, hey, I need some help in the fall, during shoulder season, who can come stay. They will answer you. They will apply to come be a creator. You can look at their reviews. We have reviews online now. We have ways that you can kind of feel like you trusted the process. You can see who else has worked with them, other hosts that have worked with them. And you can reach out to them on the side and just be like, hey, how was it working with Adrian, or how is it working with Stacy? And that's super helpful too. So don't miss on this last slide that we have, the last letter that we have, because to me, like, once you've done all of that and you've invested all that money, all that time to make it such a special place, you really want to tell that story well. And so you really don't want to gamble on someone in your DMs. You want to go here, you want to go find them, and you want to make sure that you have the right partner. I'm always available for you to ask me, even if they're not on Postaway. If you say, have you ever heard of them? Have you worked with them? I know a lot of creators in this space. And so I'm happy to share my knowledge with anybody about that. So,
well, and hey, from a data perspective, again, let me show this. Why does that matter? That is how you get to the top 10% of any market.
Yep.
When you design it, you have the great experiences, but when you can showcase it like something like this,
yes,
and you can provide, thankfully I had some awesome friends come do this. So this is before I knew about Postaway, but like we have awesome friends to like come like make this space really pop. Like this is how you get to the top 10%. And so again, that's like an extra, in this case, like $50,000 per year. So it's a no-brainer. Like a lot of the partners you were just mentioning that help you with social media and blah, 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 like, I don't know what they charge, $1,000, $2,000 a month. Like if they can help you generate an extra 50 grand a year to get you to the top 10%, it's like, why would you not do that? And plus, when we launched our property in College Station, I was like, Summerled is a shout out to them. They're the ones that helped us do this awesome property.
Yeah.
So they, helped us create these good experiences. But they're like, I remember Bree calling me up. She's like, Matt, you need to do lifestyle photos. And I was like, lifestyle photos, whatever. And even my wife was like laughing about it. And she's like, no, trust us. Like, I know it's newer, whatever, but like, trust us. And so we did, and it's helped our property crush it. And it just helps us look very different in the market.
Yeah.
But the problem I was facing back then, but before Postaway, was I was like, who do I get to go out to my property to like do it? So thankfully I had a bunch of my wife's friends come out and take pictures, and we had a fun time. It was fun, but
they look great,
and they look great, but I'm just now kind of putting together my social media. I'm now doing this property here in, let me pull this up. I'm doing this property here in Fredericksburg. That's going to be kind of like this big Airbnb event venue thing.
Yeah.
And now my wheels are just spinning of like, oh my gosh, all these amazing content creators that are out there that you have can come to my property, create these amazing photos of weddings, bachelor parties, whatever, having a blast. And then my Instagram could just go off like wildfire, which means more money and more bookings. So I want to talk to you about that.
Yes.
Your content creators out to do this thing.
Let's get into that, because this would be like a content creator's dream. I can already tell just by looking at that photo. Another thing that we are starting to see, and I don't know if it's trending, I wouldn't go that far, I don't know, but is people are doing content creator retreats. So there's your biggest bang for your buck if you host a content creator retreat at your Fredericksburg property. Oh, good. Thanks, Jeff. So if you're there with, and you say, let's host a content creator retreat, they come there, you have 10, I don't know how many people that place holds, 16. I don't know how many it sleeps.
Well, 16, but we're converting the barn upstairs with 2 extra bunk beds. So we're going to host like 20 people.
I will host a creator retreat there.
Hey, we should do it. That'd be fun.
All that to say is then you've got, 10 people, 16 people taking photos and doing videos and learning how to do this at your property. So the assets that you have at the end of this thing are ridiculous, right? You've got so many different perspectives. You've got people sharing your property and tagging you or inviting you as a collaborator, and it just grows like this. It's crazy. So there's a strategy involved with how to share. I always do a giveaway with my collaborations, always, like a 2-night giveaway, and the return on that is so worth it, because you have a chance to go viral. You can build your social media. My social media is now at like almost 60,000. So it's just, and that's all I've ever done is just giveaways and collaborations. And so I've just kind of learned how to build this. And then by way of that, then obviously you get brand deals and you get other ways of bringing revenue that have nothing to do with, a vacation rental. So there's just multiple ways to grow your brand. And I think that this is a really important one, because if you become that house, like, oh, the barn in Fredericksburg, people know, and it just becomes really popular. And it's just, people want to come stay there and they want to say that they had that experience there. And so it just kind of grows from there. So I feel like this is my bread and butter. This is what I know. I'm not like, I love hearing about the numbers from you because you're so good at that. This is what I know. And I'm happy to help anybody, any host, any content creator that wants to kind of break into this space, learn how to do this successfully.
I love it. Well, how about this? Did you have any other slides before Q&A?
No, okay. That was all the F. ABC,
well, how about this? People keep, throwing in your comments there. But let's just do this for fun. Maybe selfishly for me, because you could help me out too, and people could learn as we go. But let's look at my Fredericksburg property as like a quick example.
Okay.
And people could get a taste of like what you would recommend and how they could do this for their property. So quick example, this is the deal I showed y'all earlier in Fredericksburg. We found it evaluated with strIQ. We saw that it could go from 108,000 average to like 175,000 in revenue if it's like the top 25%, to like 200 to 300,000 in revenue, basically double or triple revenue if you got to that top 10%, which means we could make $5,000 to $10,000 in like net cash flow if we did it. So here's the risk. If we're a break-even property, or if it's a 50th percentile property, we're like break even. But if we get to the top 25 or 10%, we could get to like 5 to 10 grand per month in net cash flow. So what we've been thinking about, we hired Summerled to like do some designs and stuff, and B&B construction to like do the pickleball court and all that stuff. These are actually AI photos that are showcasing what's coming. Just a heads up, there's a cool like AI app that can kind of give people an idea. But we're going to do a official launch of this thing. It's live right now, but at the end of August, once it's done. Now, if I just started a social media for this Live Oak. So now if I'm wanting to get to that $300,000 in revenue, so I join Postaway, like tell me, what are the steps I need to do to make this property amazing?
Okay. Well, first of all, do we have a name for this property, this amazing property?
Live Oak Ranch.
This is Live Oak Ranch. Okay.
Live Oak Ranch.
Okay. So yes, so you would join us. I mean, I think you already have one property on there, but we need to get all the rest of your properties on there. You would join this, and then you would put on the collab board. Think of it as like a coffee shop bulletin board. You're going to post on there. You're going to say, hey, I've got this property. We're going to go live in August. I would love to have some creators come out and kind of get the buzz going, right? And share, do a giveaway, that kind of thing. And then you would have these creators apply. They're like shark bait, like they will come and they will apply to be this. And then so you can look through, like I said, and vet them ahead of time. We have an easy like decline collaboration, add to wait list. Like you don't have to respond to all of them. You can just see who's interested. You could kind of vet them, go look at the profile, see who they've worked with before, see if they have any reviews, that kind of thing. And then you choose who you want to work with. Then what happens is you go to this thing called My Collab Tracker. And that, like, let's say you order Domino's pizza and it has a collab, it has a tracker, right? Like, oh, they've put your pizza in the oven and now it's on the way and it's almost to your house. Like this is what our collab tracker is. It walks the host, it's dummy proofing the collaboration process. It goes through every single step. How many nights? Is this a paid partnership? What are your usage rights? Do you have a contract? If you don't, here's a contract, yada, yada, yada. It goes all the way through. When are you going to post? Is this exclusive? What if they do ads on your property? Is that allowed? Everything that you haven't even thought of is on there, and you can customize that.
Cool.
Your pitch, like according to what you need or don't need, or you can make it as restrictive or as lax as you want to. But it gives you this kind of framework to have the language around a collaboration. Like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that. I wouldn't know to say you can't post about any other vacation rentals within the span of a month from the time you post mine, right? Like you can do things like that. And so it's really awesome because it helps you kind of walk through it and see what you're in for before you actually accept and pitch to someone.
Now,
and then beyond that.
Oh, sorry, what?
No, I was just going to say beyond that, once you do that and everybody's accepted and you've checked off your things, they've checked off their things so that everything's in writing, right? You can print it off if you want to, like everything is clear as day about what is going to happen. Your expectations are all in line. After they do the collaboration, they upload their pictures and their videos to your portal. So you don't have to go search for where they are. You're like, were they on my email? Were they in an iPhone album? I don't remember. It's on your portal. It lives there. And then after that, it will prompt you to review one another. So they will review you working with Live Oak Ranch, and then you will review them. And that will also live on our platform. So and then we have it really pretty where you could go share it immediately. Like it's already really well done. And you're just like, boom, put it on your Instagram.
You have the assets and then you can go put anywhere.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the process. If you're asking the process.
Well, I definitely want to do that. I think, can you help me understand, like me as a host?
Yes.
And I'm wanting to bring these people in. What is their motivation to wanting to come to my property to do it? Am I paying them at all? Or are they just able to use that to help grow their following? Like, what is their motivation to like help these hosts and like come to these properties?
Okay, so it just depends on what your goal is as a host. If your goal is to have a lot of really high quality, high resolution assets at the end of this, if you want drone footage and you want like professional photography, then you are going to hire one of our photographers that come and do
this. And actually pay them to come.
Yes, they still take the lifestyle photos. They still take all that, but they are professionals. They will nail it every time. They will give you those hero images that live forever and, are amazing. That'll run you, depending on the photographer, you could do it for $1,300. You could do it for $2,500. You could do it for $6,000, like depending on who you choose. A lot of these photographers now have a really good following on Instagram as well. So you're not only getting the assets, but you're also getting the exposure through their Instagram. And photographers, I am a photographer, so I understand this, but they want these images in their portfolio. Like if you're building this business in the hospitality space, the more places you have, the better. So it's kind of it's a win-win for everyone. Now, if you go on the what's called hosted or trade stay, that is something that you're going to choose. I'm not saying these people are not good photographers as well. Like there's a lot of content creators that are great photographers, but they may not have the equipment that the professionals have. And so
but long story short, if you have a really cool property, there's going to be a lot of creators that will just want to come there because
they're
it can help their following and the resume.
They're going to want to grab their girlfriends and come stay here and make content. Like that's just what they do. They love it. So that would be a hosted stay for 2 nights. That's pretty typical. And then you ask for what you want, 3 to 5 stories a day, and tag me on every single thing, and let's do a collaborative giveaway at the end. Yada yada.
So Emma said a creator retreat here would be amazing.
You're on here, Emma. Let's do it. I love Emma.
Is Emma a creator?
Yeah, she's a creator.
Do we need to have Emma out at the property?
She's amazing. She's on a road trip right now, and I think she's done over 100 collaborations all along the way across the United States. Yes, there she is.
So she's saying a mix of professional photographers, then creators or influencers with target market reach. So that sounds pretty good to me. So I will say I am in the market right now on Postaway.
Emma's your girl.
As we launch this property, we are spending about $300K transforming this property. And so there's a lot of risk on the line, right? And so we want it to perform. And so that is why I'm glad I met you, Jamie, because we need some good creators making this thing amazing.
Yeah, no, you will be blown away by how quickly the word gets out. Once people take beautiful shots of this, it's you're going to be full. And
I love it.
I would kind of schedule 3 to 4 a year of creator collaborations just to keep things fresh and in front of people. It's just all marketing. That's all it is. And at the end of the day, you get these beautiful pictures to take home with you and showcase.
I love it. Well, let's do this. Let's go into Q&A now. I'm going to go ahead and drop this picture here, and we'll come up.
Yep.
And so we'll spend probably about 10 minutes on Q&A.
Great.
So drop your comments in the chat. Are you able to see these comments here, Jamie? If not, I
need to go to the comment. Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, there's a few different comments.
Sorry, my first time on StreamYard or whatever we're on.
Hey, you're doing great. I love it. So we'll go through some of these, and then everyone else just keep chiming in. But Jeff said we just completed a summer-led design and have $92,000 in bookings so far in July. So it works. Yes. So Jeff, I think, are you talking about your big O mega property? I think he transformed one of his big ones into like a wedding venue. Okay. So that's something that's kind of interesting. I've realized lately is transforming these properties into like some events as well, like weddings. Of course, you could probably drive like way more. So content creators out there doing like fake weddings or whatever would be awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. Super no, they would love that. I mean, people, they're just so creative and so talented. I cannot stress enough. Do not just answer your DMs. Like, really vet these people, because people like Emma, they know what they're doing, and you really want that for your return on investment for sure.
100%. Okay, so Julia is saying, is Airbnb the source? Airbnb the source to the data for step A, acquisition. How do you evaluate performance when properties are direct bookings? So I'll take that one real quick. And then
thank you. If it has to do with numbers, you take it.
Data wise, so comps wise, so most providers, and like strIQ as well, we're pulling from Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, and TripAdvisor. So we're aggregating all those comps, and then we're showcasing revenue potential with that. Now, direct bookings, the way that data providers go around doing that is you're able to basically check someone's listing every single day and capture that moment. And so even if it's a direct booking site and it's directly connected with your Airbnb, VRBO, your calendars are all connected. So when that gets booked on your direct booking site, it'll block it off there. And so we're able to capture information that way. Now, there may not be 100% perfection on that, but it's what should be close. So as long as your direct booking site is connected up with these other OTAs, we're able to capture that information for revenue. Now, if it's only a direct booking site, not connected to anything, then data providers like us will have a hard time actually getting that information. But Jamie, I mean, most people that you work with, I mean, do you know of anyone that does only direct booking? I mean, it's usually the combination of all of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And I was going to say too, just one more little plug for Postaway, but if you are not interested in collaborating with creators and this is not your jam, but you just want your place listed on Postaway, like, great, come on. I don't know why any host is not on there, because your listing site is on there. We don't take a cut from anything. So it's basically a free place to list your property. If you don't want to collaborate, so come on, everybody, come on.
So Jeff is saying we're anticipating 890,000 in sales in 2027. Jeff, can you come teach us your ways?
Yeah, why is Jeff
I want to find your properties. How about you? You are going to do a webinar with me, and we're going to go help people find wedding venues. Is what we're going to do.
Where are your properties, Jeff? Do you already know, Matt?
I think they're like in Iowa, or I don't know. I don't want to. Jeff, you might need to do in the comments, but it's like some big property that they've had for a while. New comment. Let me see. Okay, I think he's typing it out, but it's a big property up in like the mid, I think somewhere up north. I can't remember. But
I need to see that. Emma,
he turned it into a big wedding venue, and there's like an indoor basketball, pickleball court, I think, and it's like awesome. So anyway, if you're making 890,000, that's
why are you here?
I know, teach us your ways, man. Let's see what other comments we have here. Let's see. Oh, did we already pull up the full ABC slide again? Let me pull that up just in case.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that while we're doing Q&A. Yeah, can you slide over all the way to the?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. Okay, so I have a question for you, Jamie. So let's go back to the strategy on social media. So I kind of did what you did. Like I started Instagrams for all my properties, but I'm so busy running a company that I barely have time to do it. And then I have a hard time finding good social media people to manage it that actually know what they're doing.
Yes.
And just be honest, like I think I have a hard time thinking about spending $2,000 to $3,000 a month with a social media manager when it's like, oh, like, do I want to do that? But I think what you're suggesting and what I'm even seeing with the data now is if you're willing to find that social media manager, take over those listings so you don't have to do it, and you give them those assets and then bring on those creators.
Yeah.
Like it's totally worth it. So
it's worth it. You're going to make it. You're going to make that up in spades, and Emma actually, she is like Jill of all trades. But she does Elevated Escapes, which is under our Cultivate community. And she's amazing too. So she would be a great one to talk to, even if you don't end up using her, but she's a wealth of knowledge on promoting these properties. I mean, she does a beautiful, beautiful job. Okay.
So looking at me again, I've got these Instagrams for my 5 properties.
Yep.
I do have
Amen. Right here.
I do have, I know. And so I've kind of created mini brands for these properties. But also have a company, the holding company, AdCat Investments. So it's my holding company, but it's not really like a face brand to everyone else.
Sure.
Because I don't know how much other people would care about AdCat Investments, whatever.
Right.
So would you recommend for me at this stage I'm at to actually create a holistic brand for all these properties? And would you name it something different than AdCat Investments?
Yes, and yes, I would. I
could do like a DBA on it.
Yeah, especially if you're going to have, if you're going to acquire more properties. I don't know what your plan is, but if you guys are going to keep adding on, I would have one brand that everybody knows as yours. And then you would have all these wonderful properties underneath it so that your brand, it signifies excellence and, experience and all the things that whatever your pillars are as a hospitality company, that's what you want up here. And then you want all your different places to stay here. So yes, I would do that if I were you.
And then would you do social medias for each individual property as well?
Well, you already have them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, how many people you have on there or anything. Like if you could start over and just do the one brand and then kind of, you would have, like what I tell everybody, if they're not into social media and they don't want to post all the time, you create a mini little website on here and put 20 photos and just let it live and just let it live there, even if you don't touch it. But that way you've got your links to your direct booking sites or your Airbnb or whatever you've got.
Yeah.
But it has some presence on Instagram. That is just the way it's going. It just really is, especially with Airbnb kind of hosing all the hosts. Like it's just moving in that direction. And there's these popular places to stay because of Instagram, because of TikTok. And you want to be one of those.
Okay. So what I would love is, and I know you have a lot of connections. Do you have like top 3 social media marketing companies that you would recommend that could help out with the holistic design strategy of creating that brand so that we can all be successful? Because I mean, obviously you've got Postaway that then you can go get all the creators and all that stuff. But I feel like the step before that is getting the actual brand set up.
Yeah.
And the Instagrams, right?
Yep. So if you go under B, that's who I would recommend. I would recommend Steph from the Weber Co. I would check out Library of Stays. Library of Stays is really unique because they have, so instead of spending a ton of money from the start, like from, when you have nothing to start with, Library of Stays, if you think of it as a library, they've got like a brand shelf and they have 4 or 5 different options. And you literally I'll take this one. And then they brand your property with that same aesthetic and the fonts and everything. They give you your colors. So it's already kind of pre-done, but they slap it on whatever your name is. And so it's a very economical way to grab a hold of a brand and have an identity without spending a ton of money.
Nice.
The Weber company, they do everything from the start, from scratch, all of that. So and then all these other people like STR Studio, they're a great consultant. So if you just want to talk with them and just, book a call, they can kind of get you going in the right direction. And then Umi, she does great website and branding as well. So yeah, anybody under this brand column, I trust and would hand over my stuff. The Foundation Digital Strategies, they do more SEO type things, which I'm assuming your guy at strIQ could help you with. So, but yeah, those are the people we trust, and I would use them in a heartbeat. And even if you just go check them out, like you get a feel for who you would want to work with.
Nice. Yeah, that's been really the missing link for me is I'm just, when I first started this, I didn't know what that guy was doing. So I just threw it on Airbnb. Then I was like, oh, VRBO. Okay, maybe I'll do a direct booking site. And the more exposure I get, more eyeballs, the more revenue I'm getting. So I'm like, it makes sense. It's like, if you do a direct booking and Instagram and paid ads to it and whatever, you probably will make more, but it takes more effort. And I'm busy, we're all busy. So if there's groups out there like them, that would be very helpful. So I personally,
they're awesome. And you can't go wrong with any of them, but I would just go check them out online and see which one kind of resonates with you.
Cool.
Okay. Direct booking site company. I would use these people under the B, Jeff. They are awesome and they will help get you going in the right direction. And they are, like I said, hospitality specific. They are specifically for short-term rentals or boutique hotels. This is what you want because they understand the space. You don't want just some random web company that does a direct booking site. You want these people, they know what they're doing. They can get you where you need to go. But Jeff, you don't need any help, clearly.
I know, clearly, whatever you're doing is.
I want to go to Jeff's webinar.
Well, I'm like, dang, if Jeff brings on a marketing person, he might make over $1 million a year,
That's right. I know. That's crazy.
That's awesome. Well, we've got just a few minutes left, and then we've got to wrap up because it's getting to the top of the hour here. So thank you guys for joining. We have just a couple of calls to actions if y'all are wanting to take a next step with some of this stuff. So Jamie, do you want to go and tell us about that?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So next steps, I would love for anybody that's on here to be on Postaway. You just go to postaway.com, you create an account. It is a subscription service, but it's only per year. So the yearly fee for a host is $99 for the entire year. If you use this code strIQ50, it'll be $50 for you for the whole year. And I think that's worth it to get on there and kind of, it accomplishes a lot of things, but then you can have your natural community. You have that support on social media that we do for you. And then you can find these vetted creators. And to me, that's worth $50. So I'd love for any host that's on here to get on there and use that code and join us. As soon as you join, I get an alert and I see that, and then I will start promoting you and your listing on Postaway. So it just kind of round and round we go. We're here for support for anything. You can follow us. If you're not ready to become a member, come follow us at Postaway Travels. You can see what we're about. You can see the properties that we have. We have some amazing properties, and Emma can attest to that. We've got incredible properties. The last thing I would tell you is we are hosting a summit, a hospitality summit in Breckenridge, Colorado, September 27th through the 29th. This is when all the leaves are changing, the aspens. It's beautiful. The weather is perfection. We are going to have a speaker panel that's out of this world to talk to you about hosting. And then we're also going to have a creator panel talk to the creators. So it's going to be creators and hosts, but they're going to be separate sessions. And then at the end of the day, for 2 days, at the end of each day, we're going to come together, talk about collaborations and how we can kind of talk to each other and make this a more successful process. And then we're going to have a Q&A panel for social media so that we understand this kind of thing. Like, okay, how do these creators do social media? How do we learn from them how to bring our property alive on social media? So,
and Jamie, I think
to join us.
When someone gets on Postaway, you can, like me as a host, I can even see what other creators, their portfolios, what they've done. Yeah. And so like for $50, I mean, it's pretty awesome to be able to get inspiration ideas of like all these other properties and these creators and what they're doing to give you inspiration for. So like, to me, it's like no brainer. I like immediately signed up. So y'all need to get on there. It's amazing. And I mean, the ROI on $50 for a creator that can come to your property and help you crush it by an extra 50 grand a year is like a no-brainer. So anyway, thank you for sharing that. And then for us, for strIQ, what we like to do, I remember when I first started, I was all by myself looking at YouTube like you guys are, social media, having no idea what to do, piecing it all together. And I said, you know what? I'm going to flip the script. we're going to start a free community. We're going to let people all in. We're going to educate for free. We're going to let people learn, grow, because there's a lot, right? So if y'all scan that link, it'll take you to the STRIQ Squad community, where it's just other hosts, other partners in there, all sorts of amazing people. We've got webinars, we've got deal finding Tuesdays, market Mondays, all sorts of fun stuff. It is a great place to start when you're not sure if you want to do this thing or not, or if you just want to learn and meet other people. So scan that link, it's free. Would love to have you a part of the squad with us. So Jamie, thank you for joining. And
you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Hope I can see you in Breckenridge, maybe.
Gosh, I would love that. And you and Amanda need to bring those kids up here and enjoy. It'd be amazing.
I would love it. Like Breckenridge is like one of her favorite places ever, and I've never been there. So I'm like,
yeah. Oh gosh,
I got to get up there.
Yeah.
But hey, everyone, thank y'all for joining. Thank you to those that were throwing in some comments and giving feedback. And
thanks, guys.
We will hopefully see you again soon, Jamie.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Matt.
Thank y'all.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.